The two cars you see here are the newly redesigned Teslas, as we got the new center console updated with other new features added for the latest generation Model Y, and then we got the newly fully redesigned Model S. We're gonna go ahead and do an in-depth comparison between the two because yeah, I actually do own both of these cars somehow, and don't worry, I'm not keeping both of them. One of them has to go. So since I'm in possession of both of them, and both of them are kind of hard to find, especially during 2021, I'm going to go ahead and do an in-depth comparison to help you with your research. Let's go ahead and begin. Starting off with the price tag. So the Model S that I have here is the long range, which the selling point for me was the range for the long range. 405 is the EPA range under a single charge that the Model S is able to achieve, and for my real world experience, it comes very close to that, and I really do like it. And it actually has a quick 0-60 time, as the 0-60 takes 3.1. Now it does have a starting price of $82,990, so it's kind of pricey compared to the Model Y. The Model Y that we have here is the latest 2021. It has all the new updates. Since this is the performance, it's a little bit pricier, as it has a quicker 0-60 time of 3.5, which is still respectfully quick, especially for a large SUV, crossover style SUV like this. But the thing you gotta take consideration between the long range and the performance, performance is slightly lower, but it still has much more ground clearance compared to the Model S, even at its max suspension height. The Model Y still has a little bit more ground clearance, even with the performance lineup. Now, range-wise, the performance that we have here has a range of 303 miles under a single charge according to its EPA, and it has a top speed of 155, just like our long range Model S. Now the price tag, it's kind of hefty for the performance. It's $60,990, but you could always bring down the cost if you go with the standard long range, and that has an EPA range of 326 miles. Slower top speed, 0-60 time of 4.8, which still isn't that bad either. And there's a software update you can purchase if you go with the long range that will actually cut the 0-60 time by half a second, but still nowhere near as quick compared to the performance. Now, from my research that I've done, if you're debating between the long range or the performance, I recommend going with the performance, because at the end of the day, based off document videos that people uploaded on the internet and forums that I've read online, believe it or not, the difference between the long range and the performance is not that much. It's just software, really, because at the end of the day, range between the long range and the performance are always identical or very close to each other. Nowhere near the 20 different mile mark that Tesla label on their website. Link to this video reference will be in the description. In actuality, with the performance, you just get 21-inch wheels, bigger brakes, and a cool carbon fiber spoiler, and of course software to allow the vehicle to achieve a 0-60 time that's 3.5. Now the pro with the long range version though, if you need a third row seat, there is that option you could opt for. Now the spec configuration I have for my Model Y performance is the white seat option. That's basically a tow hitch, that's optional. I really don't see myself towing anything with this car. I have a truck for that, but there is that option. Now, an important thing that I noticed, the Model Y does indeed have a little bit more storage, I will say, compared to the Model S. The Model S is just much longer, because the Model Y, it's a little bit has more space on top, so the cargo space is much higher, so you can fit larger objects in the back here, and there's more compartments compared to the Model S. As you see here, there's two massive compartments here on the side. You also got the hidden compartment right here, which is just a massive bucket, and you also have this additional compartment right here, which is what I use to hide the Tesla charger and other stuff that you see. The Model S, if we look at the cargo space back here, you'll see it looks almost the same, but it's missing the two side compartments here, and it doesn't have the hidden compartment back here, but it does have this massive tub which comes in handy. Both of these two vehicles have foldable seats, so you could give it a flat surface, and it's perfect for camp mode if you want to. It's really spacious, no really big complaints about here. And then for the front, on the newly redesigned Model S's, it's much smaller than it originally was on the regular Model S. It's the previous generation, I'll call them. The front is slightly smaller, but it does have nice carbon material to protect the stuff. I usually just put groceries in here to separate the smell of food from the inside cabinet. And then the same goes for the Model Y. The Model Y, I just store food in here, but if you notice, the storage space and capacity is much larger compared to the Model S for some reason. Now, in terms of driving and performance, the Model Y performance actually handles really good for a this size SUV, to be honest. 0-60 is extremely quick for a massive vehicle like this. Range, again, on average I usually get anywhere close between 250 under a single charge. Now in terms of steering wheel, the steering wheel on this Model Y is perfectly fine. I still kind of prefer this over the yoke steering wheel that the new Model S has at times. It's nice, it's grippy, it does have a small flat bottom down here, but the controller is really easy to use and such. It's easy to activate, autopilot, and all that good stuff. And you still got the traditional column right here, so you could actually toggle your turn signal no matter the angle. Now driving the Model S, this yoke steering wheel feels awesome. Feels like I'm in a fighter jet. I was just describing it that way. Just the only con is everything is located on the steering wheel, and it's only using touch sensitive sensors to toggle like the turn signals, the horn, the high beams, and all that stuff. Yeah, the horn is not in the center. It's right here, unfortunately. And now in terms of cornering and such, it's all muscle memory. It took me about a week to get used to this yoke design, but when you're just going through the highway, navigating on the highway and such, it feels really cool, and it looks awesome too. Every time I have a passenger in there, they're just constantly just looking at the steering wheel because it's just mind-blowing. It literally feels like I'm flying a fighter jet, and it's really grippy too, which is perfect when you're doing those rough acceleration, those joyful accelerations, I should say. So yeah, even though this is a large sedan, this thing accelerates. Even though this is not the Plaid version, it still is really quick, and it's really powerful, as it's Tesla lists this to have 670 horsepower and like over 80 miles per hour. This thing could still easily pull and will get into 130 miles per hour in a matter of a second or two. It's quick, trust me, even for a non-Plaid. Meanwhile, with the Model Y, the performance usually is gone anywhere above 80 miles per hour, but this thing will still pull, don't get me wrong. It's just not as quick as the Model S. And the Model S, even though it has more power, it also is more efficient, but it also has a larger battery. Now in terms of comfort, I love the Model Y seats. The seats are super comfortable and fluffy, and even the back seats are extremely comfortable. The center row console right here, well, the center row seat, this center row seat, you can fold down. This will unveil more additional cup holders. In addition to that, you can fold this up, and if you have a third passenger right here, you could raise this up so it could be an A headrest. And then the air vents over here are manually adjusted, and you got access to two USB-C ports back here for your passengers so they can still charge their devices. And you also have a cubby compartment back here. Unfortunately, the Model S doesn't have any compartments on the back seats for some reason. Only the Model Y does. But there is this nice display over here that's really responsive, and sooner or later you'll be able to play games back here. There's some software updates that are coming out for the Model S, such as active noise cancellation. That is a feature that the Model S has, but it says it's coming out in the near future with a feature update. Now this part right here in the third row seat actually folds down and will unveil two additional cup holders, and these little compartments here, you can wirelessly charge your smartphone, and you can lift this up. You can actually store additional stuff. Right now I just have a cable back here because there are two USB-C ports back here for your passengers, and the air vent controls are just like the front driver and passenger side, as you can just use your finger to adjust the height and settings that you're comfortable with the air vents. And the air vents are invisible, keeping it traditional like how Tesla does it. But other than that, the back seats are extremely roomy on both cars. There's plenty of headroom, especially since both of them are using a glass roof. There's plenty of headspace back here for your rear passengers, so even those tall people will have no issues back here as well. Just however, the Model Y is the only one that actually does recline, have the seats to be able to recline a bit. The Model S doesn't have this, unfortunately. Now in the passenger side, this massive 17-inch screen is absolutely amazing. It really does feel like it's a TV right here. You can play video games on them, everything. You can go on Hulu, Netflix. Your rear passengers can also watch Netflix as you're driving with the Model S. And vent control access here, it's a Tesla. The Model Y also shares these features. In the Model Y, you have a 15-inch display, which still is really nice. And everything you see here is also available on the Model S. Now, I think I noticed with the Model Y that I should also mention the 12-volt outlet on the Model Y is always hot. It does have a timer, but it only goes off within like 2 hours or so. So as soon as you get out of the vehicle, the 12-volt outlet is still going to be running. The Model S actually goes off as soon as you get out of the vehicle and will turn back on and activate the 12-volt outlet as soon as you're inside and driving. So it does this automatically like your traditional vehicle. So just keep this in mind if you also run a radar detector like me. Now back at the exterior, you do have these odd door handles on the Model Y, and the Model 3 also has these. They're kind of odd, but takes a while to get used to. You simply just push in and pull out to open up the door. These things are cool, they look cool, don't get me wrong, but I notice whenever I have passengers that are unfamiliar with these door handles, they always struggle to get in for the first time. But over time they get used to it, so there's really no complaint here. I personally prefer the Model S door handles, the way they pop out. It's like a nice greeting. You just simply walk up to the vehicle and it just opens up and you just simply get in just like so. And then when you're in the vehicle, the Model Y, you physically have to push this button to open up the door. Meanwhile, the Model S is using the same touch sensors that you find on the steering wheel, where you simply just tap and it'll pop open the door. No complaints here whatsoever. Now, a complaint I do have with the Model S, even though this is the new redesigned model, the taillights are very outdated in my opinion. Compared to the Model Y has a nice even glow of this red outline. If you look closely with the Model S, it has like little dots. It just feels really outdated. It feels like something from the early 2010s. So just a minor complaint there, but from a far distance, both taillights are very visible. Shouldn't be at risk of getting rear-ended or anything like that. I'm just saying, it doesn't look as modern as possible. I might swap these out with aftermarket ones if there is any. All in all, if I was looking for a family car and range wasn't really my concern, even though 300 mile range still was a lot in my opinion, but whenever I'm doing like city driving to city driving, highway and such like that, with the Model Y I always have to charge it at least once for 10 minutes. The Model S, whenever I'm doing these same cruises, I could get away with just one charge and I could just charge it back home once I arrive. So I prefer taking the Model S for long road trips, and I also prefer the ride comfort on the Model S compared to the Model Y. If you like the sporty performance feel of like driving like a Camaro or a Corvette, you might like the performance Model Y. I'm not sure about the long range though. The long range might be a little bit comfortable, but the suspension on the Model Y performance is really bumpy, but not too terrible. It's probably because it has these massive rims. Meanwhile, with the Model S, I love taking this thing once more along road trips. You could change the suspension setting to comfort, which really does an excellent job on softening the bumps and such. Or you can leave it on auto, so when you accelerate quickly, it's going to immediately, I'm assuming, go to sport mode, which will lower the suspension, gives you more road feel, so you can make those quick maneuver turns. And then if you're traveling with your family, just keep it on comfort. It really does float like a Cadillac. And since we're in the subject of road trips and comfort, audio quality on both of these sounds absolutely amazing. Now the Model S has recently received an update where you can actually have woofer control, and the subwoofer in this thing is extremely bassy and nice. So if the best audio quality is the Model S, but really it's so close. Even the Model Y has an excellent sound system. You can't go wrong with either or. And there we have it. That is basically the quick rundown between the latest generation Model Y against the latest generation Model S. Both are redesigned, long range versus performance, so now you have a better understanding which vehicle is best optimized for your needs. If you got some good, useful information out of the video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could actually leave this video a like, as well as get subscribed, as those help me out a lot. And if you haven't yet purchased a Tesla, be sure to use the referral code down in the description down below, as you and I both will receive 1,000 miles of free supercharging if you haven't yet placed an order for a new Tesla. So if I helped you out in any way, greatly appreciate it if you could actually use that referral link, as it benefits both of us. And if you did went ahead and settle with a Model Y, and you're curious what kind of accessories I have on it, I cover all the accessories right in this video, and they're all linked in the description as well, so those accessories are literally a click away. And the video next to that one, that's just a video YouTube's recommending specifically for you. Thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.